Before we begin, I would like to say that the links to the stories will be in the description below if you want to read along with me. With that being said, let's begin. Number 1. When I was around 12 years old, I spent the afternoon at a friend's house who I knew from school. He lived in a neighborhood that I wasn't all that familiar with. So when we decided to take our bikes out for a ride, I simply followed him until we came to a large wooded area. It was a valley that descended away from the roadside, and from what I could see, became rather dense and overgrown quite quickly. Because of all the brush, we decided to leave our bikes and go down by foot. We had been hiking for about 20 minutes when we realized we could no longer see the spot we had left our bikes and were surrounded on all sides by thick vegetation. Being boys, we thought this was absolutely fantastic and decided to carry on further into the valley. At some point, we came across what looked like an abandoned campsite. There were some old cans laying around that looked like they had been used to boil water, an old ashtray fire pit, and quite a lot of plastic sheeting. We had a look around, but didn't really find anything interesting, so we decided to carry on with our hike. Just as we were leaving, somebody called out to us from somewhere on the other side of the camp. A homeless man appeared, no doubt the camp dweller, and demanded to know what we were doing with these things. We explained that we didn't take anything, and were just looking around, and he calmed down. We made polite conversation for a few minutes, exchanged names, and gave a vague idea of where we had come from. At this point, we didn't feel like we were in any danger, and the homeless guy was actually quite friendly. We decided to get going though, and said our goodbyes. But he told us that we had to give him something before we went. We hadn't brought any food or water with us, and so we didn't have anything to offer him. And he apparently took exception to this. He started yelling at us and demanded our shoes, which neither of us were willing to part with. We started to back away from him, and at the same time try and figure out which way we had come from, when all of a sudden he pulled a knife out and started running towards us. I don't remember exactly which way we went or how far we had to run, as I was terrified and full of adrenaline. I looked back a few times and realized that we were getting away from him, but he was still chasing us, even though there was no cover from the trees at this point. We reached the side of the road where we had left our bikes, and fortunately had enough of a lead on him so that we can hop on and pedal for all we were worth. A couple of builders who were offloading materials up the road saw that we were panicked and stopped us to find out what was going on. We gave them a brief version of events, and they went back to see if he was still around. But apparently he was gone when they got there. My friend told his folks what happened that day, but I never heard anything more about it. As far as I know, he could still be living at his campsite, but I certainly wasn't going to go back and check. Number 2. I remember working the night shift the other night at a local McDonald's. I had to fill in for my friend Kira, who called in sick. This night was probably one of the most terrifying nights I have ever worked. It was dead around 11 p.m. as I was asked by the manager to sweep the floors until a customer came in. One customer came in, and he looked a bit rough. Bald, long rusty beard, glasses, sandals, and just clothes that had stains on them. I go over to the register and say, "Hello, can I get you anything?" He said, "Yeah, can I have a large coffee, please?" I take his order and give him his coffee. I tell him, "Have a wonderful night, sir," and he smiles. I go to sweep the floor again, as I see this man sitting a bit close to where I would be sweeping, which is usually under the tables and just around the floor. When I reached his table, he says, "You're very beautiful." I smile and say, "Thank you very much." He says, "Can I give you a ride home when you get off of work?" And I say, "No thank you, I have a ride home." He became the opposite of the nice man that I took the order from to just pure rude. He tells me, "What's your schedule?" And I said, "I'm not allowed to give that information out. Sorry." He takes his coffee and goes back outside. The next night after that, Kira and I worked together along with my other friend Jack. I told Kira about the guy from the night before, and she gave me a weird facial expression. Jack comes over to me and says, "Monica, is everything okay?" I then tell him about the guy from the night before, and he gave me the look of terror. And what he said next made chills run down my spine. Jack said, "That man called the restaurant earlier and asked about you." I then felt my blood run cold as I saw the man walk back into the restaurant. Kira's face went pale, and Jack's jaw dropped. My stomach was turning in knots as I said, "Hello, can I get you anything tonight?" He says, "No, but can I take you home?" Jack then steps out and says, "No, she's not going anywhere with you. Now get out of here before I call the cops." The manager ended up getting pissed off at Jack for leaving his position at the drive-thru window while Kira was frying burgers. But Jack agreed to switch positions with me until the morning crew came in. A little later, the manager asked me to take the trash outside. I nervously said okay, but Jack, on the other hand, was pissed that the manager asked me to do it. Jack was nice enough, though, to take it for me. I stayed inside, and Jack comes in and pulls me to the janitor's closet and says, "That guy was waiting for you in his truck with 5 other big guys in there." I felt sick to my stomach when he said that. Jack then goes to inform the manager. The manager, like the fucking asshole that she was, says, "He's not going to hurt anyone. He's harmless. Now get back to work." The next morning, Jack and I worked together, and my other coworker Taylor informs me that the man has come back and told her my schedule and said that he will wait for me to come back in today. I was getting sick of it as I saw him again come inside. Jack, being the good friend that he was, told him to get the fuck out of the restaurant and to never come back again, or else he would call the cops. Jack lost his job because he was just looking out for me. I fucking cried when Jack lost his job because I knew Kira and I would be working alone without anyone else there to protect us. But I never saw the man again after that. I quit my job at McDonald's, and so did Kira. Me, Jack, and Kira now live in the same apartment building and work at a grocery store. I don't know what could have happened to me if I took the trash out that night and not Jack. I'm just happy I never get to see that creep again. Number 3. When I was 16 years old, it was a very low point in my life, and I ended up getting hospitalized for 4 months over the summer. The doctors were afraid that my heart would give out if I did even so much as walk. So, if I wanted to go anywhere, I had to call a nurse to take me in a wheelchair. My mom and dad visited me every day, not always together. Whenever my mom came alone, she would take me out in a wheelchair to the beach behind the hospital so I can get some fresh air and look at the lake. One day, my mom had come by to visit, and she took me out to the beach as usual. While we were waiting for the elevator down from the ward, a man stopped my mom and me. "Your daughter has such beautiful black hair." The way he said it gave me the willies. Kind of in a Buffalo Bill way. Like, I wanna wear it way. My mom thanked him and chatted a bit, but I just looked the other way and ignored him. I could feel his eyes on me though. We all pile into the elevator, and as soon as the doors close, I feel something tugging at my hair. I glance over and realize that the guy is playing with my hair. I'm pretty creeped out here, but I don't want to cause a scene, just in case he has a mental disorder and can't help himself. So I just leaned over as far as I could in the wheelchair, so that he couldn't reach me without alerting my mom. Anyway, we reach the bottom, get off, and my mom and I start wheeling over to the beach, while the guy just stands by the elevator and watches us go. I told my mom what he did, and she said she'd make sure to do something if we ever saw him again. After that, we kept seeing him, always by the elevator. He'd make a comment about how beautiful my hair is. My mom would nod politely. We'd go in the elevator, and he'd try to play with my hair. But my mom would move in the way. We'd then get off, and he'd watch us roll out. Creepy, but we decided he was harmless. Until about a month later, we went down to the beach as usual, and this time we didn't see him at the elevator, but we didn't think much of it. At some point, my mom had to use the restroom, and it was mutually decided that I was old enough to take care of myself for 3 minutes. I was sitting in the wheelchair, looking out at the lake and enjoying the sun, when I started getting pushed. Thinking it was my mom, I turned around to ask for 5 more minutes. Nope. Not my mom. Nope. It's the fucking guy. He's pushing me towards the bushes, and the look on his face is predatory. I scream, but the only other people out there are in a canoe out in the water. So I make a decision. I decide if I'm going to die, I'd rather it be heart failure than this guy. So I get up out of the wheelchair and start legging it towards the restrooms. I look behind me to see if he's following, and fortunately he's not. He's just standing by the wheelchair, looking shocked. I guess he thought I was paralyzed. I make it back to my mom, who had run out of the bathroom upon hearing my screaming. We both look back, and the guy is running away, like he's got a rocket in his ass. My mom carried me on her back to the wheelchair. Then we rushed to inform the hospital staff. They put a watch out, and for the next month, there's security hanging around the elevator on my floor. But he never came back. So, creep who preys on sick and disabled, go fuck yourself. And I hope no one ever sees you again. Thank you for listening to another 3 True Scary Stories from Reddit. Remember, if you like this video, to make sure to leave a thumbs up and also subscribe for future content. Until next time, everybody, have a great night, and as always, stay safe.